time, come hang with the hippie, come enjoy the good vibe. Smoke up in the green room, smoke your worries away. In the green room, we'll stay in the green room. If you wanna get high, and you got the time, come hang with the hippie, come enjoy the good vibe. Smoke up in the green room, smoke your worries away. In the green room we'll stay, in the green room.
This production is brought to you by DHBN, WTHC Radio, and Stoner Records.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome in. You're hanging with the hippie and Little Skunky and Granny Cannabis. Welcome to another edition of The Green Room. The Green Room, yes. Oh, you guys woke up. You woke up. Thank you. All right. Quiet. Welcome in, everybody. Good evening. Hi, Rich. How are you? Welcome in out there. Thank you so much for being here. We are waiting on our special guest. It's Rocky Rodriguez.
He's on his way. I've been assured.
Okay. Adventures of Ozito. O-Z-I-T-O. Hi there. How are you, Adventures? I'm just going to stick with Adventures. How's that? Adventures, nice to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome in. Welcome to the Green Room. Skunky, how are you? Turn your camera a little bit to the right. There's a crazy-looking old guy behind you. Or your left, whatever. Yeah, that way. There you go. All right. Keith, how are you? Good to see you. How's Nadine? Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. It's good to see everybody. So, Granny, tell us a little bit about Rocky, if you don't mind, while we're waiting.
Rocky is an incredibly talented, not just singer, but he is a producer as well.
So he started out as a singer,
musician, lyricist, and working on production with the band as they were, building their sound.
Yeah. I want to wish Nadine a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Nadine. Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
Love you, Nadine. 21, I'm sure. She just turned 21. Or she's celebrating the anniversary of her 21st birthday. Our friend Rocky is officially here, everybody.
All right.
Welcome, Rocky Rodriguez. Hey, Rocky. How are you? Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you just fine. Can you hear me?
Yup, I hear you perfectly. I'm glad it all worked out.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm honored to have you here. After I started reading your bio, I was like, oh my goodness, I have a celebrity on my hands, a real one, a real live one.
I don't know about celebrity, but I've had a wild life.
Yeah. You're going the wrong way. You want to pull that down so we can see you.
Yeah, let's try that again. Yeah.
Take your time, no rush.
There we go.
There you go. Well, I want to thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you.
Oh, she's 64. Don't ever tell a lady's age, Keith. He's telling his wife's birthday on the.
Thanks for coming on so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on unexpected. We sacked you and we stole you. I appreciate you stopping in. Really do.
All right.
I got questions. You ready?
Sure.
All right. Let's get it going here. Let me just make sure everything on the radio is working good. We're out there live on Live 365 and tune in. And we are on Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank everybody for being here. So, Rocky, your family's musical heritage runs deep. How did your father and grandfather's influence shape your musical journey, if you don't mind?
Well, I think when you're young, well, let me take that back. In a Mexican family,
okay,
I didn't get a choice. It was, this is how we live, and we don't know any different. And so I didn't know it was different until I became of age to have friends where you go and have a sleepover.
Yeah.
And then you realize, why is it so quiet here and it smells like bologna? And it doesn't smell like frijoles and tortillas and Tejano music and
And there's
family members stopping in, and all of a sudden now we got 5 people playing instruments and singing music, and then all of a sudden phone calls get made, and now we got 30 people at our house.
and we're
Phone
having
calls get
a party
made. Now we
out
got.
of nowhere.
And it's always
Take your time, no rush.
it was always a family and music combination. Hold on a second.
Take your time.
There we go.
We are the experts at technical difficulties. That's
There we go.
We're
Yeah,
really good at
my earpiece fell out.
We're
All
always
right,
breaking shit, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Take your time.
So,
Go ahead.
so what ends up happening is when you're young like that, in that type of family culture, every Sunday is a family get together. And if my dad plays on Friday or Saturday night in a closer area, the after party ends up coming back to either my aunt, or we call him Tia, my Tia Patty's house, because I'd stay the night over there a lot, and then they'd come home from the dances,
Party, from the celebration or the
Mhm.
whatever show Dad was doing, and Grandpa, I guess too, right? Back even
Absolutely. Well, when he was still alive,
Yeah.
I mean, there was no whether you're 70 or whether you're 40, you still go to the dance, and you
Right.
still cumbia, and you still
And
sing
even
the
if you're the
songs, and
patriarch or the matriarch, that's the right word, matriarch.
absolutely
You
all the
still
way up
there,
until
you sit there. You might be in your chair, but you're there, and everybody comes by and says their blessing.
absolutely
respects.
I
Yes.
get it. Yeah, I get
on
it.
my
You're inspiring.
grandfather's last New Year. He was in his mid 90s, or maybe he was 93,
Bless
I think it was,
Bless
and he
him.
wasn't feeling so well, but he wasn't going to spend what he knew was probably his last New Year staying home while there's a New Year's dance and everybody's cumbiing.
Right.
So
And he's
he
not
ended up getting
close.
himself dressed up, going out dancing and singing, and maybe
Awesome.
10 days later, that was it for him. And, he passed on. It wasn't yes, it's sad, but it was more of this man sang and danced until the day he died.
Till the day, yep.
And
no rest home, no being mistreated, none of that shit. Everybody took care of him until the day he passed. That's awesome.
That's
And he said
beautiful.
he was 90 something. That's amazing. God bless him. Growing up,
absolutely.
what was the first instrument or musical style that really resonated with you?
I didn't know any better than Tejano and country, because that's what was my dad always played Mexican music,
In the
and
car,
then
wherever you were driving.
by the time it got to be early 80s, in our area, Whittle 100 was the country Lansing music station. And so it was a combination of the Mexican music and then the Whittle 100. And my dad started integrating that type of music into his music, as well as country and a Tejano mix of things, depending on the crowd or where he's playing at. But what he ended up finding is that even if he's in a crowd of all white folks that have no Latino, Hispanic affiliation, they appreciate those songs because it's something they haven't ever seen. Because my dad's the real thing, where it's like having a Latino Johnny Cash, something that
Right.
it's a breed that doesn't exist anymore. The Waylon Jennings, it doesn't exist anymore.
I listened to one of your dad's songs. Believe it or not, I found it and I listened to it, and it was amazing. I mean, it was not something that I was used to, but I know exactly what you're saying. Like, I could find myself enjoying it and getting used to it and wanting to be a part of it and wanting to get up and dance and do that kind of stuff. Hi, T bro, how are you? All right, sorry, we're talking to the crowd over there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you're also continuing this tradition with your daughter, correct?
Absolutely. Now that I'm in my
Don't have to say.
mid stage of life, I'm not in my young teens.
You
I'm
all
not
did the
in my
math.
roaring
You all did the math.
20s.
You're younger than all of us, so don't worry about it.
But I'm at that stage where, I still got the fire in me and everything, but I've got other responsibilities and things that I have to attend to and make sure that I pay the bill at the end,
Let
And
me,
so,
let me give you a little bit of advice because I am a dad also, and I don't know how old your daughter is, but mine is in her 20s now, and that time goes really quick. So you need to enjoy it while you have it because she just recently moved out, and it was traumatizing. I was like, "Oh my God, why did my baby girl move out?"
yeah,
So,
I can't. At this point, it's I've reshuffled the deck of cards so that I was more in control of my time and life, with a little bit of sacrifice for having to do things I don't like to do for
work.
roughly 8 to 10 hours.
Right,
But
right.
I'm able to do it primarily from a home office that is allowing me to make a livable wage while I can still have this
Right.
and all that.
Yep. Dude, oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Within fingertips.
Within reach. Yeah. That's
so
amazing.
that I can get to the creative side of things and share those.
Can I ask how old your daughter is?
My daughter is 11, moving close to 12.
Wow.
And
Enjoy.
so
That's a
she's
great
at the
age.
Moving
age
close
where
to 30.
That's great. It's a great age though. They are a lot of fun then.
she's coming into her own identity, and it's cool to see the different flavors that have shown up.
Does she play an instrument already?
She's in the school band playing flute, and she's first chair, which she earned. And she didn't start first chair. She's just recently become first chair, and then has a concert on March 4th where she's going to be featured. And so that is part of how I learned a lot of my skills that I didn't know were going to be useful in my rock and roll life. But I ended up being able to read music, sight read music. Then I was able to understand what 20 other instruments were doing that were different than what my instrument was doing. And because my musical palate was able to digest all that,
absorb it all
easily,
right.
my gifts started to become pronounced in my teen years doing that type of, and then that elevated to being in a drum corps, which, if you know what drum corps, it's like
I've got
competitive
questions about all this. So yeah, we're gonna get to that. Ready?
All right.
You were involved in so many. Well, hold on. Let me go. How did your experience traveling between Michigan and Texas as a child impact your perspective on music and culture?
Well,
I was. Aaron, how are you? Welcome in. Thank you for being here.
Hello. Thanks for coming in. I remember getting up early at like 4 or 5 in the morning on those days we're leaving to make a 28-hour drive. I always rode shotgun with a big old map in my
the map
hand because my dad wanted me to have that same knowledge, experience.
You have to learn it, son. You have to learn it.
Not even the fear of being able to travel 1,000 miles right now if we have to.
Right.
And not be afraid to talk to grown-ups, even if I'm only in second grade. He would be the type of a guy, because I didn't watch cartoons too much in the Saturday afternoons. I loaded gear and told him the bass was too low, and told him that I thought his vocals were too quiet, while I'm in some Moose Lodge, Elks Lodge, Red Rail Bar, Boogie Woogie, Honky Tonk, somewhere between Flint, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Michigan, just anywhere that would have my dad's band. And then part of, I think my dad was keen that, I'm going to be gone Friday night, Saturday night, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, but we will get 12 hours a day together, whether it's plugging and unplugging and we're going to get our family time.
I did the same thing to my kids, and they hate me.
So you were your dad's roadie. There you go. You were the roadie. That's how you
learned. I was the roadie, but I also learned sound. I also learned stage manager presence, because I'd be, hey, that's my dad, Rodriguez. He said, get me 2 Bud Lights, a power strip, and turn the power on in the back left corner of the building.
Yep.
Who are you? That's my dad, Ray Rodriguez. He told me to do these things. I'm not going to tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you who my dad is, and
Right.
that I'm an
Exactly.
extension of his power.
Yep.
An extension of his
Yep.
power. Exactly. All right. Moving on. Tell us, because I was reading in your bio, I want to hear all about it. Tell us about the legendary high school party concert. How did it feel seeing that kind of response to your music for the first time?
So it was a Ferris Bueller kind of moment. And yeah. So you get into sports, and at that time in my life, I was very athletic, very good at football. I always had a go get it attitude, and I was just a savage athlete. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't.
how did you balance all that? Was a question I just skipped by mistake, and it says how did you were involved in so many things like drum corps, football, choir, karate. How did you balance all that passion and your passion in music?
Almost everything was kind of a necessity. Where I came from, the Ovid area is very farm country, where I'm the diversity.
Right.
And so, with my parents coming from not having civil rights era to then moving north, getting a job where you are actually in the union and having civil rights, and you know,
Wow.
it's a whole experience that my parents kind of clue me in a little bit to be prepared for and make sure that I'm excellent at math at a young age, even though I don't know why they pressed me so much to know that.
Yeah, 'cause
Very good at reading,
math
very
sucks.
good at bringing people together, very comfortable being in front of people and performing, very comfortable growing and getting over challenges I don't want to do because I don't get a choice because dad says, well, you're going to have to learn how to do this at some point. You're going to have to overcome challenges. So by the time I got to be in situations where, well, do you want to be in the higher calculus class? Well, you're going to have to do these things to be with this echelon of education. And I never like to look across and think, oh, that person's smarter, stronger, better. So even if I was getting a C in that class, at least I'm in the advanced algebra class. And then when it comes to competition, I'm winning. I don't have to be the straight A student to win the competition. I just got to be the guy that when it comes game time, I always win. I always prepare to win.
No second place. Second place is the first loser.
That was kind of how I felt, that I had to be a 5-star everything amongst a community where I don't want to be the dirty, stinky, smelly loser Mexican. And that's the way that my parents had to grow up, because they were the dirty, stinky, smelly loser Mexican in their community over and over and over and over again until they move up north. And then it becomes, oh, look at all these Rodriguez athletes that are good at baseball, basketball, and they got a singer in the family.
Wow.
They got a singer. They've got great work ethic. They're respectful. Family's nice.
You got 4 minutes until I have to play a 420 song. That's a thing we do over here.
Yes,
And you'll get a little break while we do that. But quickly, if you don't mind, tell us a little more about that party. We didn't get to finish hearing that.
Absolutely. So a combination of being a part of a lot of different scenes, if you will. I was always in the drama scene. When that time of year came along, I again played the sports. I was in the student council, was student council president at the time that my parents had to go down to Texas because an unfortunate death in the family happened for my uncle.
Sorry.
And so they had to go. And then there I am, the first Friday of the high school football season. It's a home game. I'm not playing that game because I'm younger than the seniors. You know, I'm not on the senior team. I'm on the JV team. So I played Thursday. We won. And then everybody shows up to the game wearing your JV football gear. You do your little fight with the JV football team over on the side because they all come. And then afterwards,
and then they're rubbing it in your face that you're about to lose or whatever. Yeah, I remember.
Yep. Yeah. And everybody here is, hey, there's a party over at Rock's house tonight. I heard his parents are out of town. They're in Texas, you know.
And you were like, who's Rock?
Yeah. So on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, leading up to that party, we already had all the equipment set up in the garage. And we're already playing our Thunder Kiss 65 and playing Sepultura, Roots, Bloody Roots, and playing Korn, Blind, and just playing these songs for the joy of playing music as a teenager because there's no parents around, and you know, you got 7 beers between 20 people. You know, when you're that age, you know, you have some. No, you have some. You know, it's the high school stuff.
I've been there. I still do that. If we have a good party going, I'm like, glug, 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 glug,
yeah.
Okay, girl. No.
So my older sister, who is a Nashville artist, she is class of 92, where I'm class of 96. So when she graduated, then I entered high school. And so any of her friends that were juniors that are now seniors are like, "You're Rachel's brother, aren't you?" I'm like, "Heck yeah, I am. I am Rachel's brother." And then some of them be like, "Well,
legacy," because I screwed my brother. They were like, "Oh, you're his brother." Oh.
No, my sister, we were partners in crime because before she was old enough to be in the band, she was the babysitter. And so while my dad goes out Thursday, Friday, Saturday gigging, mom goes with my dad. And at the time when she's 15 and I'm 12, or 15 and 11 rather, you know, she's my babysitter up until about 17. And by that time she's playing at 2 a.m. with my dad at all these gigs or whatever.
All right, go take a break. We're going to run our 420 song.
Yeah, let's do that.
Back, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Happy 420. We're hanging with Rocky Rodriguez.
State Big Studio.
Hello, my name is Rich Regal, and we just legalized marijuana in the great state of Ohio, and I figured why not write a song to that beautiful plant. I'm looking for the light, just wanna get high, so high, and my mouth is so damn dry, 'cause I'm high as the sky, so high, and I'm looking for the light, just wanna get high, so high, I'm high. Grab the papers in a bong, it don't matter what you're smoking on, just keep it rolling like we Cheech and Chong, We just sit back, light one up and pass it all around, all Zaza in my roll-up, yeah, we ain't never smoking brown, pack of gummies in my mouth, I ain't never coming down, trying to get so damn high that I can never touch the ground. And we do it like this, no seeds, no sticks, boogie over there, lighting up another damn spliff, so I grab it on up and put it to my lips like this. I'm looking for the light, just wanna get high, so high, and my mouth is so damn dry, 'cause I'm high as the sky, so high, and I'm looking for the light, just wanna get high, so high, I'm high.
We're
Excellent.
back. We are back. Happy 420 to everybody. That's our buddy Rich Regal, right out of the great state of Ohio. We had him on last week. I appreciate and love him for that. Thank you, Rich, for giving us the rights to play the music. I wanted to touch on something. Because we played that are you 420 friendly, sir?
Heck yeah, the whole break I just 420. That's why I'm coughing up lung.
Okay. So I got a couple 420 questions I'd like to ask you then.
Before we get there, I got to finish that high school story because
yes, go ahead.
yeah.
Sorry.
So we're gonna catch back up with the folks. My parents left, went down to Texas, and I'm at a young, formidable age where I had to make the decision: am I going to be the kid that takes advantage of my mom's nice house with all my dad's equipment set up in the garage, and then ask one of these older friends of my older sister to get a keg or two. It ended up being a 3-kegger night. And we ended up having probably 500 people show up to this house from 3 counties over. People were, when I got done playing the last song and I'm sweaty, thank you, good night, I'm going to go into my room, change my clothes. I came out of the garage, which was packed front to back, and there were the front door and the back door were simultaneously broke because there was a flood of people that were coming in and out. The upstairs, the downstairs, the backyard, the side yards, all the way like probably 6 blocks down this way, 6 blocks down that way, all around the
must have loved you.
So
my
when did
parents
the
were
police get
1,200
there?
miles away. By now it's probably say 11:45. Because I probably started playing about 11, and my set's done 11:45. I start realizing the destruction and the massiveness that I can't hide this or contain this. It's out of control.
How do we even get it under control? That's the question.
I called my phone, because this is the 90s still, so we got phone.
Yeah.
Right.
I called the
You might
phone,
have had a beeper.
hung up, and so that calls the house back, right? And so I'm like, everybody shut up. It's the police. They say they're on their way. So half the people leave instantly, and then a manageable size party of say 60 people stay.
Helped you clean up.
And then we have a decent party where there's 30, 40 people in the backyard, the 20 people that belong in the house like I expected it to be. Right. And fun fact, at that time, because at that time I'm probably 16 coming on 17 soon, but I wasn't 17 yet, I hadn't smoked yet. I wasn't I kicked some people out of my house that were smoking. I was like, do that shit in the backyard. We don't smoke that shit.
Right. You didn't kick them out of the party. You just said,
you got to do it in the back because nobody's.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I just didn't smoke at that point,
No, that's okay.
So then,
you weren't
fast forward to your questions now.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. If you could hotbox with any musician, dead or alive, who's passing the joint to you, and what are you listening to?
Well, since we got the not alive aspect, I got to go with Bob Marley.
Yep.
And then Snoop Dogg, because he's present. And then somebody like, we're going to take it back history style. So
we had Benjamin Franklin the other night, so we're
Da Vinci.
Oh,
and then so that's 3, and I'm in the 4th seat.
All right, then the car is getting hot boxed out now. What are we listening to on the radio?
What are we listening to? I'm going to play my dad's album. That I recorded that.
Yeah,
with my dad.
I like that.
Very nice. Very nice. Let's say aliens land and demand one song to represent Earth's music. What are you handing them? A Tejano classic? Did I say that right? Tejano,
that's excellent.
Hold on. A Deftones banger or something totally unexpected?
I think I'm going to play him a Deftones, but not a banger, a Deftones ballad, because I think the melody will translate universally across the universe.
We're all water, so it'll vibrate.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You got an excellent choices from Rich over here as well in the crowd. He says your choices. Da Vinci was a good one. What's the weirdest place you ever come up with a song idea, and did it actually turn into a song?
Well, I don't know so much the weirdest place, because there's 2 ways that music comes to me.
Okay.
It's in a random flash when you're doing mundane things like brushing teeth, going to the restroom, washing dishes, where your mind is absent from the present and you're just on a robot mode, but your mind has escaped off to Calgon land. All of it will come to me at one time in mundane, not thinking situations. Or if I am really, while I was in college, I did theater as trying to get a major for a minute. And in honing the art skill to turn on the light. Like, you know, when you come to class, it's on. And you either, I want to be the best, so you got to get Robert De Niro mode quick. You know, you got to be really to go, you talking to me? You know, you got to be ready for that, you know? Right. Exactly. So in learning how to do that for music, you know, I just translated that to the music format rather than theater format. And so whenever I was like, I got between this time and this time to get lyrics done to the song before the studio on Monday.
It's amazing how you
guys always do this. You're under the pressure. And so I always had a jam room. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've always had something like that helps. By the time I got to be serious about the game. You know, serious about being creative.
Mean, you always had, even when you were a young child, Dad had instruments laying around, I'm sure.
Right, so it seems strange to not have the ability to do that.
Maracas at the age of 1, you know, you were walking around the house with some sort of a maraca.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, something, I'm sure, all your life. And that's awesome, though, because my parents didn't do any of that shit for me, man. They were a bunch of jerks.
When I would try and hone and create, and all I'm doing is listening to that music in I'm walking around, I might do some push-ups, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, I'm trying to party within myself so that when the music's just there's no vocals that exist yet, I'm trying to create my own shimmy shimmy y'all shimmy yay, something that is left field. I want to do I am the walrus cuckoo cuckoo because I don't have the ultimate best vocal. I can sing, and I'm not the most Jay-Z of a rapper, but I can rap. You know, so I know my box of skills and how to use them without expanding and sounding like I'm stretching my range too much, or I'm just trying to do something that I shouldn't be trying to do. So I would really try and find the alchemy within an experiment of saying it right then while the music's playing and recording myself, just getting excited about the moment, excited about the journey of creating. And sometimes my children's storytelling ability from when I was younger would pop out, and I'd be like, hola muchachos and muchachas. I was like, oh, that would be a cool way to start a song. I don't have to say it in Spanish, but I can say, hi, I'm da-da-da, and then start a song where I'm more of a storyteller. Welcome to 1836, biatch. And I'm not really presenting myself as a
my favorite
front man for a band. I'm more like a ringleader storyteller. And then that sets the template in a much bigger scope for who the personality can be within the song.
Gotcha. That's I was listening to your music earlier, and that was my favorite. I went through like 30 of them, I guess, right in a row, and 1836 hit me. It was nice. I also liked
we were actually talking about it before 80s, the show. We were talking 80s, about our favorite.
80s was a good one, and the first one I listened to, Party Something.
Just another party, rocking through your body, rocking through your body.
It might be that. I mean, you know better than me. It's probably that. Anyway, I don't know. I'm looking, but anyway, your first big moment came in 1996 when you got on stage with the Deftones. What was running through your mind at that moment? What was running through your head at that moment? First off, what made you get up on stage? How'd you get up on stage?
We've all been to tiny lane bars where it's just a narrow lane. The bar's on the right side of the room or the left side of the room. And then there's a hole in the wall type of stage where the ceiling's not all that high. The band is cramped. Right?
Yeah.
In Grand Rapids, there's a real dump called the Reptile House. Literal crackheads on the
Shout
side
out
of
to the Reptile House. We don't want to call them a dump. Try not to call our friends dump.
It was the first time I saw people shooting up in my, 17-year-old life. I was like, oh, right there. They're right in front of us. Shit,
The band is here. They're impressionable. Come on, guys. Clean it up.
Let me tell you something funny.
Okay.
In 1996, it's the end of grunge, but we don't know it's the end of grunge yet. Grunge is still going really strong. You know what I mean? To the point where when I went to my first concert that was in the realm of Deftones and Korn style of music, I
Right.
realized I was outdated in my appearance. I was in a previous fad of clothing, and the
Yeah, you were still in
Deftones were more
1990 and it was 1996.
right. It's the Adidas Skateboard California Vans
Right.
Warped Tour
Oh,
X
Warped
Games
Tour,
look.
X
I
Games.
literally went to Value City and bought a pair of jeans that look more skateboarder like on the way to that Deftones concert.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you get up on stage, and then you
So
end up
then I,
on stage. Go ahead.
right. So I'm now I'm there. I'm with other 17-year-old friends of mine, and then we're by the bar, because we're all just pressed up against this bar. The singer ends up standing on the bar. We're slapping hands and everything. We're like, we got to go to the front of the stage. So we kind of football our way up to the front of the stage. Now I'm like leaning up against a speaker. And this is the type of singer that jumps into the crowd, and then now you're holding him like back to the crowd. This is the old
Yeah.
hardcore days. Everybody else sweaty all over each other.
I was probably there. I was the 30-year-old snorting. I was there.
So just like
I didn't say that out loud. I didn't mean that.
So it's the last song where I know what song they're gonna do, and I'm like, pull me up. So you lift your foot up, you're like, pull me up, and somebody grabs your foot and throws you up under the crowd, and you do a somersault, and you land on the wedge, the monitor on the stage, and the singer's like, dun dun wipe, dun 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 wipe. So then I just grab the secondary microphone on the bass player. What? But now we're going back and forth, and I'm like, ah! And then I jump into the crowd, and then they crowd surf me to the back, and then the band walks out, and we meet outside just luckily, and I'm like, oh my God, you guys, it's blowing my
awesome,
17-year-old mind.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, it's all right, we'll be out in like 15 minutes. We got to change our clothes, get our groove on, and we'll come back out. They don't want to talk to the girls sweaty.
I've done it myself a million times. I've been up there. I've gotten on the stage 3/4 of the way through the bag, shit face, snorting, doing bad stuff. Maybe
Yeah,
about that.
we don't know about that. Possibly.
The band doesn't even know me. They're like, "Who the hell are you? And why are you on our stage?" And I'm up there, and then they just push me off, and I get carried out by security most of the time. And then thrown on my ground.
Absolutely. That very next day,
I
which
never
is
got
June
to do it from the
13th,
Deftones, though, man. That's amazing.
I went to my guitar player's house because that's where the practice spot was that we would jam at, because his parents had the cottage up north. So when they would go to the cottage up north on the weekend, that's where we're really making our band a possibility. We didn't know it. We just wanted to be awesome for the friends that were watching us.
We kids, the gang.
We play the Pantera song so good. We play this Seven Dust song so good. We play this Korn song so good. And then that day when I came back after that Deftones guy's like, it's time to write songs, and the first ones are probably going to be kind of shitty. So we got
two friends I like to shout out every once in a while. They both made it. One of them had a one-hit wonder. It is 9 Days. Here's the story of a girl.
Yeah.
I went to high school with one of those gentlemen. And the guy from Suffocation. I don't know if you know Suffocation, but Suffocation, my buddy Terrence Hobbs, dropping names. I used to work with Terrence Hobbs for a very long time, and he's an amazing guitarist and an amazing friend too. Anyway, more questions. I got more questions. After that show, you immediately started writing original songs. What was the first song you ever wrote, and do you still remember it?
Absolutely. It's called Alone. I was working at Walmart in winter of 96, and it was a snowstorm where the carts are like, you're pushing a row of cart. It's 4 inches of snow, so it's and your whole foot is just sopping wet.
I had that job.
And it's about 11:15 at night, and I got to work until 2, 3 in the morning. It's during the holiday season. It's just, I've had it. And so I'm literally all alone in this ocean of carts outside, because it's like right after Black Friday type stuff. It's just
and dude that was supposed to be helping you called in sick, so you're out there.
I'm the only one.
You're the only dumbass that came in on that day. No offense, but I get it.
And there's a killer party going on at my friend's house. who's the good-looking kid that's got the sweet car, and his parents are out of town, and all the girls are going to be there. And I know at 11:15 at night, it's on. It's happening right now. I just gotta quit this job right now.
New career. Find a new career. I'm a rock and roll singer.
In my mind, I was humming a melody that went and so that was just going in my head over and over again. And before I went to that party, I stopped at my guitar player's house and I was like, "Hey, I'm about to go to Josh Piper's house. You want to come with me?" Like, "No, no, no." And I was like, "Well, I got this idea. I don't know if you can play it on guitar." And so if you know what it means to drop tune, it means you take your E string, which is the highest string, and you drop it down so that with one finger you're playing a power chord rather than going like this with it. So it makes it possible to do something like because when you play it clean, it sounds beautiful. It's like it's beautiful, clean, and quiet. And then I was like, so my idea is we start slow and very movie Western, just spooky, almost like a spooky Western sound is kind of what I was hearing in my head. Clean, deserty.
That was because you were going to kill your bosses at Walmart, and you were like,
yeah. And I was like, I'm all alone. That was my thought. Here I am. And I was like, and then I'm going to come in scary, like, and on that first Adrenaline 31 album, the song Alone is on there. And that song's we opened the show with that. We won Battle of the Bands playing that. We ended up getting on a radio car commercial on the summertime that was like in the 90s. It was a cool thing to get your subwoofers installed with your Kentwoods and your Alpines, your blah pump speakers, right?
So it was totally
one of those businesses that was in Frandor, Michigan, like in Lansing, Michigan. The point of winning that Battle of the Bands is you get to record some music, you get to play with Seven Dust when they come around, and then your song gets in this advertisement. And this was the commercial that's like, "Come down and get your blah plunk, da da da, Kentwood, da 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 da, adrenochrome, da 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 da." So all summer long, this commercial would run. Sometimes it'd be like this commercial, another commercial for car sales, and then that commercial again, and then back to the radio. So it was almost like we were on the radio all summer long. And it people started showing up at the show because of that commercial. So it made me hip to buy my own commercials, make my own commercials. So they're little, yes, it's an advertisement, but I was making like a collage of the cool parts of my 3 most popular songs.
Just hit me up. Just listen. You guys are listening out there, you talented artists. Anyway.
And then my commercial would be like, Adrenochrome Friday, June 15th at the Temple Club, Lansing, Michigan. Adrenochrome Friday. And it'd just be over and over and over again. So I started manipulating the local. Whenever our shows were coming up, I'd write a little rubber check up front because it was back in the day when you could do that. Blow out the show, take the money from the show at midnight, drop it in my bank account by Monday. It was like, I did everything right.
You just answered my next question.
None of us have ever done that.
My next question was, winning the Battle of the Bands at the Small Planet 2 years in a row must have been huge. What did the victory mean for your band at that time?
It put us on the map from nobody, from nowhere, because the bands that we were playing with were college bands that were trying to compete with the Verve Pipe, the Chili Peppers, because that Small Planet in East Lansing, the Chili Peppers played there.
Yes.
Nirvana played there. Tupac got in a fight there. This was a hot spot in the 90s. That, along with the Blind Pig, which is still around in Ann Arbor, were staples of that tour when you were doing the college tour scene back in those 70s, 80s, 90s.
Had like a routine where you followed the same bars and you would go to the same. I got you.
So for us, it put us on the map. And I'm the only one that's of that age. Everybody else is still 16 and 17 in high school. And I'm having to pay door guys to let these guys into the show just to play. And then they get kicked right out.
Jerks. And where I came from, they were allowed in. Well, we didn't have they would set up we had what you would call a tractor trailer in the day, and that would open up the whole side, and they'd set that up in the backyard whenever they did the battle of the bands, and then beer was sold inside to the adults, and the kids could party and rock and roll outside. But that was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
You had interactions with bands like Seven Dust, Limp Bizkit, and Linkin Park. What was it like networking in that era of rock and new metal? New as in and you.
I can only say it from my perspective, so it's almost going to sound like I'm full of myself, but we were fortunate that from the get-go, we had some type of magic happen between my young band of high schoolers, so that by the time we got into those scenarios, I just looked the part, was living the part, and you couldn't tell the difference between Seven Dust, Linkin Park, Adrenochrome, or Adrenaline 31, depending on the era of time frame that you bumped into us, or we crossed paths, or we opened for you, or we happened to be in a compilation together. Because early on, the only bands that had made it yet were Korn and the Deftones, and then they were like on the Mount Rushmore of the forefathers of this style of music that's about to sweep the whole world. And we were quick on it, because literally the day the Korn album dropped, which is the first of all these albums that changed the game. My keyboard player, who turned into my keyboard player, was at this place called Rock-A-Rolla Records in Owasso, Michigan, going to get the live Obituary album that was dropping that day. And while we were there, the other guy said, the other album that came on his band, Korn from California, I don't know, they got a lot of bass, but they're weird. And by the ride home, we had listened to the 45-minute album on the way. It changed my life, my mindset. I knew that that was more like what I was into instantly. And so I immediately thought, okay, so I can do this. I can sing like that. I know kids that play guitar like that. I know that we can just be that here. And nobody will know the difference between a Papa Roach and an Adrenochrome, because we're happening at the same time. Our culture is going to be our own culture. We don't have to sound California. We can sound some type of country, some type of redneck, and then some type of Vatos Locos Forever, which I bring to the whole equation. And that mixture of what it was enough to dominate everywhere we went, even when we went out to California and back.
Wow.
So meeting all those bands was just me like saying, yeah, I'm here too. How do I meet your record company? I never made it seem like
in that industry, I feel that you need that confidence. You need to exude that confidence, or they don't really see you. Am I right about that?
It's a dog-eat-dog world. I've learned that in the short time that I've been in the music.
Only wolves survive in that industry, and especially when the industry didn't exist yet, because it's not like those bands came out getting on the radio right away. Korn went massive on their third album. The rest of it was them just grinding it out, opening for Slayer, opening for Metallica, opening for all these bands that...
Well, yeah, that was them. They were the ones that were opening for all those guys.
And then it happened, and then everybody was like, oh, the overnight success. Nah, man. They've played thousands of shows by now, and now it all happened with the timing and everything, and the Adidas clothing was really hot at the time because the cool look and everything, and then the Ozfest happened.
Right, I'm about to ask you about that. Handing out thousands of demos at the Ozfest and other shows in Serious Dedication shows and other shows, is Serious Dedication. What was one of the most unexpected or rewarding moments from that hustle?
So I went to go watch Korn play in Detroit at the Fillmore. It's State Theater that's been named a couple different things. And this was on their Life
York
is
or
Peachy
California?
in Detroit, in downtown Detroit. And this was when Detroit was grimy. And I didn't know the opening band, but it was a band called Limp Bizkit. Nobody knew who this band was. They had no record deal. Nobody just knew who they were. We were there to see Korn, and the first band that comes out is Limp Bizkit, and they were already potent and fierce, and who they turned into was very commercial. Before that happened, though, The first album, they didn't sell out. They just took the moment to make millions and laugh all the way to the fucking bank.
Right.
The first album is just about being as badass as Korn as you can because they're who you look up to and are trying to get a demo to, and it actually worked. That's how I said, I'm going to do the same thing Fred Durst did. When I met Fred Durst for the first time, he was sitting on boxes of demos, of 3-song demos, handing them out to thousands of Korn fans that had just saw his band open for Korn, but didn't really know who the band was, and then talked to as many people who would talk to him. And I was like, oh, that's how he's doing it? I should do the same thing. So then, because I had a decent paying job at the time, because now I'm probably 20, 21, and I'm hustling at a place called Protocol where I sell every ab lounge, ab scissor, Body by Jake, this, Bare Essential makeup, Little Giant ladders. It's like, hello, thank you for calling Little Giant Ladders. Are you looking for the 27?
And that was the huge.
I skipped over
That
those
was
questions.
the huge home working out, start to get fit era. That was the beginning of all that too.
Right. So that was my day job. And so then I would take some of the extra money I could either live a more comfortable life off of, and I would buy 1,000 discs at 0.2 pennies, because I'd buy them in bulk so that when I get 5,000 CDs, I bought my own CD burner, and over the course of a couple weeks, I could have 2,000 CDs to take to the Ozfest and just hand them out to all the bands that I respected, any manager that wanted it, any sound guy that wanted it. And then we ended up starting to open for bands like Seven Dust, Taproot, Il Nino. The list goes on. Mushroom Head.
Just get you on that list, and then you get onto those tours. The Temple Club in Lansing became a major home base for your band. What made that venue so special to you and the band?
I had seen the Deftones play at Clutch Cargo's in Pontiac, Michigan. It was the identical thought process. They turned a old church into a music venue, and it lasted there for 20 some years, legendary. I was hoping the same thing would happen in my own hometown, because the whole point was to fill up your venue and then swap shows with people that are doing it in Chicago and Nashville, places I can get to frequently. And so if you can get like a triangle of metropolis cities, you've made your own revenue that then you can extend that into a tour between those towns, even if they don't have 700, 600 people, where it makes sense and you can travel and bring 10 people because you got your band plus the sound guy, right? There's a cost of traveling and playing in a band before you all start getting money back, And I knew the business side of it. So I was like, okay, we got to do this here, here, and here. And then no matter what, anywhere in Michigan, we got to be the biggest, baddest, so that Adrenochrom's the band from Michigan, 5.0 is the band from Chicago, is the band from over there, and they're friends. And what's good for them is good for me. What's good for me is good for them, because you want to be around successful other bands.
Yeah. I love it. It's networking. It's all it really is. I mean, it was
building a community,
before
music.
networking. Right. I mean, it was before.
I wanted to run with wolves and sharks.
Right. I get it. So I'm going to get a little sad here for a second, bring back some sad memories. Surviving the house fire in 2003 must have been life-changing. How did that event reshape your outlook on music and life?
It turned me more savage, and it wasn't actually a sad, devastating moment, only for maybe the immediate time frame. It was on the Super Bowl Sunday, and we always had these huge Super Bowl parties, and I always had during this era of time, a band house where me and at least 4 other guys in the band, and then a couple girlfriends. So we would live in these houses that had like 5, 6 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and then a huge basement where we would play ping pong and play band and play video games, and a bar. It was a fun college-y type thing, but we weren't going to college. We're going to the college of being in a band and traveling after our day job and making this thing a serious commitment like it's college. And so one of those blowout parties that we were having, we noticed that while everybody's smoking in the garage, all the lights go out. And we're like, that's strange. We put the lights back in. A week later, all the lights go out. So there was clearly some electrical issues in this house that we started renting in November, just 3 months prior, right? And so it's the end of January. It's like negative 10 degrees. We're down in downtown East Lansing after watching the Super Bowl for the after parties at these, East Lansing collegey bars or whatever. And we get kicked out of this bar, and then something called Big Daddy Taxi drives us all the way back home. I throw up in the van. I'm like, oh, see you later. I go back inside. It's 2 a.m. I'm like, oh man, work in the morning is gonna suck. Oh man, this house is cool though. I can't wait for summer. I go to bed, and because I'm all wasted, I literally just have a pile of clothes. Like I slipped out of it, and it's right next to me, and I'm laying in my bed. And the next thing I know, somebody's pounding on my, and my eyes open, and I distinctly remember I was dreaming that somebody was burning something in the kitchen.
Mhm.
And when my eyes opened, I already knew I was about to die because the heat smoke had already filled my room. And the reason I was dreamy is from the asphyxiation of it was too much already. And, my wife now was sleeping right next to me. I immediately woke up, threw my pants up, hoodie up, and I started sweeping under the bed because I knew the cat was sleeping under the bed. And I was trying to get it, but the smoke was so hot, it was burning the flesh on my face. And it was so dark and black. And I had already told Pam, go, go, go. And they're already going down the hall. And I waited until danger I knew I had to get out of this room or I was going to die. So now I'm like kind of army crawling and going down this long hallway, and I can see everybody in front of me, but you can't really see. You just see the one person in front, and everybody's going out the exit that we all normally go out, but we don't know that that's where the fire is coming from, is the garage, because the line coming from the post to the garage then lit the garage on fire. The garage then lights the barbecue grill that's on fire inside the garage. The barbecue grill blows up, turns the upstairs on fire. The upstairs starts burning down, and the people upstairs all run downstairs, tell the people downstairs, and now are running towards the fire. There's an escape door downstairs where the jam room is, so they run down there, but like a fucking movie, the backdrop goes and the fire comes at me, so I can't go down. That run through the fire shit, it's a lie. You can't do it. No. I tried to run through the fire. Fuck no, I was going to burn alive and die if I tried that. No. So I ran out the kitchen.
Heat is so crazy. The heat is so crazy. I was a firefighter for 2 years, and then I got hurt, unfortunately. But
so I ain't fucking lying. You can burn by the smoke can burn you.
When they brought us the first time, they brought me. I was still I was having a bad night. I had a gout attack, so I couldn't participate. So the chief brought me. I didn't have any of my gear, and he said, "Come with me." And he brought me up into the burn building where they do the burns, the practice, and they shoot the fire out and all that. And him and I were standing in a room, and the firefighters would come in, and it's all propane in there, and they turn it on, and it goes crazy, and they can adjust it to have it blaring. And so we're in there, and they turn it on, and then they close the door. And him and I are standing in there with no gear on, and we couldn't get out. We were waiting for the next few people to come through. We had our heads out the window. We were like,
yeah.
And then they finally came through, and we were able to get out. And we were like, holy shit, the chief and I were going to die on my first day there. It was crazy.
Unfucking believable. So long story short, I ended up jumping out the window with my drummer's wife as the ceiling is falling down, and we jump into a snowbank, and then all 10 of us are outside within like 90 seconds or so. And within 2 or 3 minutes, the house is just all on fire. And now we hear fire sirens and everything like that. But I was smart enough to have renter's insurance. So then a few months after I cleared 3 investigations with the fire, police, insurance. And then I was like, I'm telling you, it's the electric company. They're like, okay, here's all the money that you're entitled to.
The scariest Super Bowl Sunday ever. I agree. Yeah.
I had my house burned down when I was in my 20s. I had still been partying and living at home with my family. So I was still, living there, but the house burnt to the ground. Yeah, we lost everything. That's why I said it was sad, because it's hard to come back from. It's very difficult to come back from. You have to be strong.
Immediately, my mindset was fucked up. But then one thing happened. I was at my parents' house, staying the night almost for the second night, and I realized I don't need to stay at my parents' house. I can use this immediate $5,000 they gave me and just go rent another badass band house and keep going. Because immediately they give you $5,000 from that for housing. and
Right.
everybody went back to their parents' house. And after the first night of living in my parents' house and feeling like I was a kid again, and all the shit that I just done and won, and
Mom was like, "Come on,
I
I'll give you a
couldn't.
bath, and we'll
I
get you."
wasn't a boy anymore. I had turned into a savage guy in a band, and I couldn't switch lives anymore.
Right.
You're over
So
here screaming Monday through on the weekends, and then your mom's trying to change your diaper in the week Monday through Friday, and we can't. That don't work. I
So
get it.
my drummer is at his mom's house, and then we go and we meet up and start talking. I was like, well, I'm going to go rent this house. And they started talking about, well, we're thinking about just staying at mom and dad. I was like, well, you go ahead and stay at mom and dad's house. I'm going to continue pursuing my passions. And the way that I had said it, they came across like, oh, yeah, why don't we just continue being ourselves instead of folding up and going back to mom and dad's house?
Well,
And so I was like, you're welcome to do that, but I'm going to continue to do this, and I'll do it with other people that have the same conviction
you
that
want
they
to,
are
right?
bad at artists.
I
Because
love it.
that's the only way you can do it once you're in that lane of creative pursuit of, I wasn't in it for the money. I was in it for being able to do it long term for the rest of my life somehow.
Right.
I don't know how I was going to do it, whether the record company's going to come around, whether I DIY it myself, or whether I end up having to be the guy who works the job and does that. Well, then I'll do that too.
Right.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got so many more questions. You grew up listening to old Mexican Tejano and ranchera music. Have those styles influenced your rock and metal songwriting in any way?
Certainly, because the rhythms that I'm used to hearing, whether I know exactly what they're saying or not, the delivery is different. The notes they choose to go to are done in a different way, so that my perception of how a singer should be doing things, my instincts go to different ideas than
Everybody
the
else.
Caucasians that were in my scene that are quote unquote peers, but they were never my peers, because immediately when I stepped on the scene, everybody's like, who's this indigenous person?
Right.
It was just a different delivery. You combine that with my storytelling, ringleader, hype man persona, and then the music was a melting pot of a little country twang with some hillbilly grown up on Skinnerd, and then all the music that we were loving from the Korn, Rage Against the Machine generation, that's what we wanted to do our version of. Good night. We still, to this day, ain't nothing sounds like us.
Right.
You're very distinctive.
When writing a new song, do you start with the lyrics, a melody, or a riff? I think you kind of said that it's kind of plays in your head, the song, right?
For me personally, usually all of it comes to me in a strange way. Like when I was saying younger, being in the orchestra type playing trumpet band, being around that environment for so long, I'm not the type of person who just thinks of a guitar part. All of a sudden, bam! I know what everybody else is doing right then. Whereas if I'm writing with somebody else, I don't try to overshine them, because I know what a big person and presence I can be. I try to facilitate my battery into them and shine them up and elevate them as a talent, because not every artist has the ability to just to turn it on like I learned to do through professional college training while I was in college. So sometimes you gotta coax the genie out of the lantern, if you will,
Right.
Depending on personalities and whether they just got out of a hard day at work, or they're having a bad time with their girlfriend, wife, whatever, children problem, and that's where my humanity made the difference. And it wasn't just a garage band, because it was more of a family event with me, because that's how I knew how to live for my dad.
Right. I get it. I want to thank you. We're about out of time. It's already after 9. I could
There's
ask you
so
a million
much
other
more I
questions.
know we
Yeah,
want to cover.
I want to. We can have you back. I could have you back. Absolutely, I would love to have you back if you'd like to come back.
That's cool.
This
That's
was
fun.
this,
I liked it.
this was amazing, and like I said, I still have so many more questions. In fact, let me get one more in real quick. Imagine you're chilling, fully baked, and and a talking dog walks in. What's the first question you're gonna ask it?
You smoke?
You want to hit? Yeah, I guess so. All right. Rocky, I can't thank you enough. Granny, I can't thank you enough for putting us in touch with Rocky. This has been an amazing show. I really appreciate you coming by. I want to talk to you more. I mean, we have your sister. I played her song today on the radio.
Yeah, Richard Rodriguez. Whole lot of woman. Whole lot.
Yeah,
I played it for
absolutely.
my
Whole
sister.
lot of
I
woman.
played it for my daughters. I
Yeah, I
sent it
actually
to my
put it in
nieces.
one of my videos is actually advertising for you coming on. I put it as the song playing on my story, I think. So your sister's up there playing on my story right now. Yeah, absolutely love her song. I love you. I think you're amazing. I can't thank you enough for being here. Please stick around. I would like for you to do me a favor and give us a couple little shout outs if you wouldn't mind. Saying that you're hanging over here at WTHC Radio. That would be amazing. I appreciate you. I want to thank everybody out there that came by and hung out with us. You guys are amazing. Please make sure you like,
so much.
subscribe, and share. We have a lot of great shows coming up in the near future, including the Clan, not the Clan, but Clan, CLAN. They're a rap group. And then we have your friend Trish, right, Granny? Trish is coming on the
Trish
on the
and
15th.
Kenzie.
And then Cultivated Mind is joining us on the 18th of March. So that's just the beginning. We have a lot more coming. I've got a lot of people who have reached out to me. So please make sure you stay tuned in to us. We're kicking ass over here. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you so much. And please,
Thank
Rocky,
you guys.
yeah, you
Thanks,
guys.
man.
Thank you guys. Skunky, thank you. Annie, thank you. Rocky,
Thanks,
absolutely.
guys. Thank you so much, Rocky.
All right, let me say goodbye.
Smoke up in the green room. Smoke your worries away. In the green room we'll stay. In the green room. Smoke up in the green room. Smoke your worries away. In the green room we'll